Hi everyone, I'm Greg, Bioinformatter on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Moxfield, Instagram, TikTok. I'm all over the place, but really you'll find me on Twitch on Twitter most of the time. Um, but I do box breaks every once in a while and post them to YouTube. So that's probably where you're watching this. So I got in my first shipment of the Magic the Gathering, Lord of the Rings, Tales of the Middle Earth. So I'm starting off small with the bundle, um, and I've also got a little bit of everything else, and then I've got another shipment on the way. So I've got a set, a draft, a collector box. I also have the starter kit. Um, so that's what I have so far to dig into. Um, but here we are. Here's the bundle. So there we go. So these are sealed with little cardboard strips. Okay. Okay, this has an insert inside of it, so the box itself is no printing on the inside. So I'm just moving that out of the way. So we have ourselves, I'm guessing, Treebeard, an Ent. And here we go. My name is growling all the time, and I've lived a very long, long time. So my name is like a story. Okay. But here's our box with the One Ring sitting there in Mount Doom. Okay. So now we have our ring of punch outs. Yep. So +1 counters. Maybe these are tempted by the ring counts, I'm guessing. Okay, so that's a spacer for that. We do have a cool spin down counter. And there's the set symbol there for the One Ring. And very fancy numbering on it that's a little hard to read for some of them. Some of them the single digits are more easier to deal with. It's not that bad, but it's a cool looking spin down counter. Hey, they've got this paper packaging. So there's like the set of lands that comes with it. I'm probably just not going to bother opening that for now. Can we tell? Frodo Sauron's Bane is the bundle specific promo. So you can barely make it out, but there you go. Frodo Sauron's Bane. That I'm also just going to leave closed for now. But then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 8 set boosters to crack into. The rest of the box is just plain. Okay. Let's give it a shot. So these are set boosters, so there's no one of one ring possibilities in here. Plus there have been claims in the wild that have yet to be confirmed. So I won't believe it until someone from Wizards of the Coast confirms it. Here's Goldberry as an art card. Goldberry River Daughter. That's the art card. Okay. And it looks like we're starting from the commons, so we have a land. Lothlorien Lookout. Galadriel's Guide. Galadrim Bow. Shower of Arrows. So these pretty much most of this is going to be new to me. I didn't follow religiously all of the spoilers. Obviously, there are big cards that kind of made a bigger splash than I've seen. Shire Scarecrow. Okay, our first uncommon is Shadow Summoning. Create a tapped, create 2 tapped, 1/1 white spirit creatures with fly. Okay. Theoden, King of Rohan. So whenever another human enters the king or another human enters the battlefield under your control, target creature gains double strike until end of turn. Okay. Ugluk of the White Hand. So whenever another creature you control dies, put a +1/+1 counter on Ugluk. If that creature was a goblin or orc, put 2 instead. Okay. Here's the I don't know the nomenclature for the formats. We'll just call this Showcase for now. Merodiac Brandy Book. So we got ourselves a hobbit. Whenever 1 or more halflings you control attack a player, create a food token. There's a bunch of food token synergies going on. Oh, and hey, here's Sauron the Dark Lord. So we got a mythic out of this pack. That's great. We have ourselves a foil extended art, or yeah, so I don't know if this is extended art or borderless. I think it's like extended art foils, probably what they're calling it. Shadow of the Enemy. Exile all creature cards from target player's graveyard. You may cast spells from among those cards for as long as they remain exiled, and mana of any type can be spent to cast them. Sounds pretty good. It's got mana cost of 6, though. And we have a list card, which is a Cavern Harpy. It looks like it's a common, so it's probably not worth much. Flying, when Cavern Harpy comes into play, return blue or black creature you control to its owner's hand, and pay 1 life, you can return the Harpy to its owner's hand. Okay. Go ahead and put that up there. Okay. Ooh. So we got a signed art card. Foil signed. Ghost Quarter. So that's the art card for Ghost Quarter. Have a land. Great Hall of the Citadel. So you can have it for colorless, or you can pay 1 and add 2 mana and any combination of colors, but only use it to cast legendary spells. So, Gimli's Axe. Common. Gimli's Fury. Erebor Flamesmith. Barrowblade is the first uncommon. So, the creature gets +1/+1, and whenever the creature blocks or becomes blocked by a creature, that creature loses all abilities until end of turn. And Frodo Baggins. So we have the uncommon version of Frodo. So whenever Frodo or another legendary creature enters the battlefield under your control, the ring tempts you. As long as Frodo is your ring bearer, it must be blocked if able. Gollum Patient Plotter. So when Gollum Patient Plotter leaves the battlefield or the ring tempts you, you can pay black to sacrifice a creature, return Gollum from your graveyard to your hand. Activate only as a sorcery. So, yep. So if you get some sack synergies going on, you get to recur the Gollum for the effect. Samwise, the Stout-Hearted. Good old Samwise. So Halfling Peasant, Flash, and when Samwise enters the battlefield, choose up to one target permanent card in your graveyard that was put there from the battlefield this turn. Return it to your hand, then the ring tempts you. And I still don't know the details of exactly how the ring stuff works. So we have an extended art version of the Shire Sheriff. It's got vigilance, and when it enters the battlefield, you may sacrifice a token. When you do, exile target creature an opponent controls until Shire Sheriff leaves the battlefield. Okay. Legolas. Legolas Master Archer. Reach, whenever you cast a spell that targets Legolas, put a +1/+1 counter on Legolas, and whenever you cast a spell that targets a creature you don't control, Legolas deals damage equal to its power to up to one target creature. Interesting. So we have a foil card here, which is a foil saga, and it's long list of the Ents. So as the saga enters and after your draw step, you put a lore counter, sacrifice after 6. So a 6-step saga. Note a creature type that hasn't been noted for long list of the Ents. When you cast your next creature spell of that type this turn, that creature enters the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on it. So I'd have to give a think on that one. It sounds like a bit of work, but it's a little funny. Okay, and this one had a token in it. So we have a Smog token. So Flying Haste, when this creature dies, create 14 treasure tokens. Yikes. So, yeah. That's a thing. Okay, we've got a second foil signature in a bundle. I don't know that that's very common. Gandalf the Grey. Okay. So I guess I'm assuming that's a Balrog situation there. Okay, a swamp. Oliphant is a common. Mirkwood Spider. So this is a common, but I'm just going to check it out because Shelob is in this set somewhere. Death Touch, whenever Mirkwood Spider attacks, target legendary creature you control gains Death Touch until end of turn. Okay. Ooh, Mirkwood Bats. So this is one there has been discourse upon, um, and I've seen it in action, and it can do stuff. Um, so it's flying, and whenever you create or sacrifice a token, each opponent loses one life. So in a token deck, that can start to hurt. Um, Gothmog Morgul Lieutenant. So that's a human soldier. When Gothmog enters the battlefield, amass orcs. One, so that's another big thing in this set is amass orcs. Um, and so when you amass, you put a +1/+1 counter on an army you control. And note that it just says army, and there's more than one type of army in the history of Magic. So you might want to do an amass matters deck. Um, uh, okay, so but put a +1/+1 counter on an army you control. It's also an orc. If you don't control an army, create a 0/0 black orc army creature token first. And creature tokens you control have death touch. So if you've got a nice little cloud of tokens, having death touch, that might keep people from attacking you. Okay, so that's an uncommon. Okay, this one will be butchered. Mahur Urakai Captain. Menace. And if one or more +1/+1 counters we put on an army, goblin or orc you control, that many +1 counters are put on it instead. Book of Mazarbul. So another saga. And the first one is Amass Orcs 1. The second one is Amass Orcs 2. And the third one is creatures you control get +1/+0 and gain menace until end of turn. Denethor, Ruling Steward, Butcher of Tomatoes. At the beginning of your end step, if a creature died under your control this turn, create a 1/1 human soldier creature token. 2, sacrifice another creature. Each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Okay. Well, here's an extended art version of an Oliphant. So trample, and whenever it attacks, another target creature you control gets +2/+0 and gains trample until end of turn. And it's also got mountain cycling on it. Flame of Anor, or yeah, I'll just pronounce it that way, and people could complain if I got it wrong. So it's an instant. Choose 1. If you control a wizard as you cast this spell, you may choose 2 instead. When target player draws 2 cards, destroy target artifacts, or Plane of Anor deals 5 damage to target creature. And Mary, Esquire of Rohan. So another of our Hobbit portion of the Fellowship. Haste. Mary, Esquire of Rohan has first strike as long as it's equipped. And whenever you attack with Barry, another legendary creature, draw a card. Okay, we have a foil version of Sharky, Tyrant of the Shire. Avatar Rogue. Activated abilities of lands your opponent control can't be activated unless they're mana abilities. And Sharky, Tyrant of the Shire has all activated abilities of lands your opponents control, except mana abilities. Mana of any type can be used to activate Sharky's abilities. So it's an interesting card. It's a meme card. I don't relish facing it. I kind of like to use utility lands. They're part of my interaction package. Is that some of it's on lands, so it could mean trouble for me. I don't know where that one sits price wise, but it's another one where there was at least minor discourse on it. Okay, Skirk Fire Marshal is another list card, so second list card out of the bundle. Protection from red. Tap 5 on tap goblins you control. Shirk deals 10 damage to each creature and each player. That actually sounds like it could hurt someone. Okay. So this is literally the first cards I have in my hand from this set, so it's all new to me. So this is maybe a little slow, but so that's our art card. Mirror Guardian. Okay, I got one of the map lands. So we have an island map land. Battle Scarred Goblin. Troll of Khazad-dûm. Lorien Revealed. Draw 3 cards and land cycling. Cost 5. Okay. Prince Imrahil the Fair. So it's a human noble. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, create a win-1 white human soldier creature token. So that second card each turn is another sub-theme in this set. Strider, Ranger of the North. So landfall, whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, target creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Then that creature, then if that creature has power 4 or greater, it gains first strike until end of turn. Eowyn, Lady of Rohan. So the uncommon, beginning of combat on your turn, target creature gains your choice of first strike or vigilance until end of turn. And if that creature is equipped, it gains first strike and vigilance until end of turn. And equip abilities you activate cost 1 less to activate. So that's a lot to build around. Reprieve. So return target spell to its owner's hand and draw a card. So interaction with a bonus. Samwise the Stout-Hearted, and in the showcase format, I think. Okay, we did the Flash and stuff. Yeah, so we mentioned that one before. Nazgul. So this is one where I think you get to have like 9 of them in a deck or something. Death Touch. And when it enters the battlefield, the ring tempts you. And whenever the ring tempts you, put a +1/+1 counter on each wraith you control. The deck can have up to 9 cards named Nazgul. So that's an uncommon. Okay. Sting, Glinting Dagger. Good old Sting. So what did they give this? The equipped creature gets +1/+1 and has haste. At the beginning of each combat, untap equipped creature. Equipped creature has first strike as long as it's blocking or blocked by a goblin or orc. Okay, that's on flavor. And equip 2. Okay, our foil is the Grey Haven. Legendary land. When the Grey Havens enters the battlefield, scry 1. You can add colorless, or you can add mana of any color among legendary creatures you control in your graveyard. Okay. Ballistic Boulder is our token. Go. Okay. 4 more packs to go. Okay. Some version of Smeagol, her golem. Smeagol, Helpful Guide. Art card. Foil version of the Forest. Mirkwood Spider. Another Mirkwood Bats. Ithilien Kingfisher. Flying, and when it dies, draw a card. Dunland Surbane? Cribane. Dunlad Cribane, I think. Bird Horror. Flying, and when it enters the battlefield, amass orcs 2. Bilbo, Retired Burglar. So when Bilbo, Retired Burglar, enters or leaves the battlefield, the ring tempts you. And when Bilbo deals combat damage to a player, create a treasure token. Barrow Blade. It's a +1/+1, and when equipped creature blocks, it becomes blocked. Okay, we did that one before. Okay. Frodo Baggins. So whenever Frodo Baggins or another legendary creature enters the battlefield under your control, the ring tempts you, and as long as Frodo is your ring bearer, it must be blocked if able. Another Gollum Patient Plotter. Prince Imrahil the Fair in the extended art. Hey, this is one of the surprise stars of the set. Orcish Bowmasters. So it's a orc archer. It's got flash. And when it enters the battlefield, and whenever an opponent draws a card except for the first one they draw in each of their draw steps, Orcish Bowmaster deals 1 damage to any target. Then amass orcs 1. So that does a lot. And there's been some rumblings of bans and stuff. Who knows what's going to happen, but people are going to give it a shot and see what it does. Okay, so this one's a common, but it's the foil version of the East Farthing Farmer. And when it enters the battlefield, create a food token, and when you do, target creature you control gets +1/+1 until end of turn for each food you control. And there's a lot of food stuff going on in the set, so it might actually be useful. And then another list card, Bug Wraith. So it's another Wraith, so it fits in with the other Nazgul stuff if you're doing a Wraith's Matter deck. And basically this is a 3/3 with Swamp Walk. Okay, I don't know what this one is yet. Fog on the Barrow is the art card. And Island. Wizard's Rockets. So, fireworks from the Shire from Gandalf. Wizard's Rockets enters the battlefield tapped. X tap, sacrifice it, and add X mana in any combination of colors, and when it is put into the graveyard from the battlefield, draw a card. Ent's Fury. So put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control if its power is 4 or greater. Then that creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn and fights target creature you don't control. Okay, so fight spell. Another Great Hall of the Citadel. Ghibli's Axe. Old Man Willow. Old Man Willow's power and toughness are each equal to the number of lands you control. And whenever attacks, you may sacrifice another creature or token. When you do, target creature an opponent controls gets -2/-2 until end of turn. Rise of the Witch King. Each player sacrifices a creature. If you sacrificed a creature this way, you may return another permanent card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Voracious Fell Beast. Drake Beast with flying. When Voracious Fell Beast enters the battlefield, each opponent sacrifices a creature. Create a food token for each creature sacrificed this way. Another Theoden, King of Rohan, so grantor of Double Strike. Here is the extended art version of the Dunland Crebain, which is a common. Here's another Sharky. Screwer of Lands. And here's Morgul Knife Wound. Foil. Enchanted creature gets a -3/-0 and has at the beginning of your upkeep, exile this creature unless you pay 2 life. It's a common, and we have a spirit as our token. Okay, we're down to the last 2 packs. There's an Aragorn and Arwen wed, and this is a Magali Villeneuve art. Pretty sweet. Another one of the map lands, so plains this time around. This one's got the Shire on it. Lembas. So it's a food. It's an artifact food, just not a token. When it enters the battlefield, scry 1, then draw a card, and you can pay 2 and sacrifice it to gain 3 life. You can sacrifice the Lembas, and when it's put into the graveyard from the battlefield, its owner shuffles it into their library, so you get another shot at more Lembas. Generous Ent. Reach. When an ETBs, create a food token. Mushroom Watchdogs. Sacrifice a food, put a +1/+1 counter on the dogs. It gains vigilance until end of turn. Activate only as a sorcery. Snarling Warg. So the wolf with menace, and as long as you control a goblin or orc, it gets +1/+0. Oliphant again. Rosie Cotton of South Lane. So when Rosie ETBs, create a food token. Whenever you create a token, put a +1/+1 counter on a target creature you control other than Rosie. So she's just a very giving gal. Peregrine Took. So we're rounding out the hobbits. If one or more tokens would be created under your control, those tokens plus 1 additional food token are created instead. Sacrifice 3 foods and you can draw a card. And there's Marodiak Brandybuck, which we had in Showcase earlier before, I think. So whenever one or more halflings you control attack a player, create a food. Many Partings, an extended art. Search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle, create a food token. Okay, it's a common. Yeah, so it looks like there's a slot in here for an extended art card, and sometimes they're commons. Palantir of Orthanc. So a mythic. At the beginning of your end step, put an influence counter on Palantir and scry 2. Then target opponents may have you draw a card. If that player doesn't, you mill X cards, where X is the number of influence counters on Palantir. And that player loses life equal to the total mana value of those cards. Okay. So decisions. Landreval, Horizon Witness, foil. So, Bird Noble, flying, and whenever 2 or more creatures you control attack a player, target attacking creature without flying gains flying until end of turn. So that's it. Uncommon. And then we have Sharky's Tithe as a minigame token substitute. Okay. And now we're down to the final pack. Okay, so we got an Legolas, probably. Legolas, Counter of Kills. So that's the art card. Another planes, and it seems that the planes, since we do have 2 of them, one was the Shire and one is Rohan here. I don't know if they overlap one way or the other or not. I know these go into a map somehow. They overlap into a map scene, I think. So, Ithilien Kingfisher again. Dunland Crabane. Deceive the Messenger. So target creature gets -3/-0 until end of turn, and amass orcs 1. Faramir, Field Commander. At the beginning of your end step, if a creature died under your control this turn, draw a card. And whenever the ring tempts you, if you chose a creature other than Faramir as your ring bearer, create a 1/1 white human soldier creature token. Okay. Dunedain Rangers. Landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, if you don't control a ring bearer, the ring tempts you. Shortcut to Mushrooms. When Shortcut to Mushrooms enters the battlefield, the ring tempts you. And at the beginning of your end step, if a permanent you controlled left the battlefield this turn, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. Ring Sight. The ring tempts you. Search your library for a card that shares a color with a legendary creature you control. Reveal it, put it into your hand, and then shuffle. Okay. Elrond, Lord of Rivendell, in the Showcase, not foil. Whenever Elrond, Lord of Rivendell, or another creature ETBs under your control, scry 1, and if this is the second time that ability has resolved this turn, the ring tempts you. Okay. Okay. Fangborn Tree Shepherd. Um, Tree folk you control have vigilance. Whenever one or more tree folk you control attack, add twice that much green. You don't lose unspent green mana as steps and phases end. Yeah, fun for a green deck. Uh, Born Upon a Wind. So this is rare. Instant, you may cast spells this turn as though they had flash. Draw a card. It's cost a 1 and a blue. And an extended art. Foil Oliphant. And a minigame card. So this one was Battle of the Hornburg. So there's the handy box to put all the stuff in. Yeah, so I got like 2 foil signed, and I got 3 list cards out of it. And for the rares here, Born Upon the Wind, Fangborn, Palantir, Sharky, Orcus Bowmasters, Sting of the Glinting Dagger, Sharky and Foil, Mary, Flame of Aenor, Legolas, and Shadow of the Enemy, and Sauron the Dark Lord. So I have no clue where the prices are settling. This is release week, so people are going to be it's expensive, but people have bought it. A lot of people are going to be cracking it, so prices will probably dip anyhow. But I don't think this is anything to complain about. I think I got that Orcus Bowmasters is one of the ones that at least has value for now, as long as it doesn't get banned. Yeah. So anyhow, I hope you enjoyed my journey for the first look at the Lord of the Rings cards in person. I've got more stuff to crack. Thanks for watching, and I hope I'll see you around for the next video. Bye.